Get your reactions ready. The live portion of the show will begin in just a moment. Today is Sunday, May 14th. It's Mother's Day, and the Yankees were going for 3 straight wins after a couple of big victories over the Rays. My recap, your reactions, coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
How's it going, everybody? Well, that was a tough one. At the very least, the Yankees did show some fight this afternoon. It's a tough split, but your main takeaway is that these two teams, aside from the manager, are pretty evenly matched up. Every game except for one over the past couple of weeks has been very close. But unfortunately, the Yankees do split. I said last week that I would be happy with a 5-2 homestand. That's what it would take to make me happy, and I got to stand by that. They went 5-2. You would have liked to have been greedy and won 3 out of 4 today, but was not in the cards, was not in the stars. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Let's give a round of applause to the moms out there. My mom just kind of hopes everybody has a good time, to be honest. This was a big game. There's not a lot of huge games in May, but this series, given the way that the Rays have charged out of the gate, the way the Yankees had been playing, it was a huge series. And to be honest, if you're asking me, headed in, did I think we would take 2 out of the 4 games? I would have probably said no. So the fact that we did win a couple, I got some schmutz on my hat there. I don't know what the fuck that is. The fact that we did win 2 out of the 4 games, and split, you don't lose any ground, at least. So anyway, it was another tough start for Clark Schmidt. He just continues to be awful. Rays jumped out to an early 1-0 lead. Worth noting that Yandy Diaz hurt himself on one of those new pizza box bases. He slipped. He kind of limped away and then came out of the game the next inning. And, he's been huge for them. He's got amazing numbers. He's fixed his swing path. So if he goes on the IL for a bit, that's going to slow them down a bit. This division is not over by a long shot. Not as bad as we thought. Now that we've got Bader back in center field and Judge back in right, this team's looking a lot better. The offense is a lot better. It's changed the way that Rizzo's being protected. You see him getting hot again. Cabrera hit a home run today, so he's coming out of it. He also, he's not totally out of it. He also hit another ground ball. He also had a tough day on defense. But I think you're going to start seeing more power from Cabrera. Yankees go to Toronto. That's not going to be an easy series. The Blue Jays always give the Yankees trouble. Yankees did temporarily get off the mat after falling down 3-0. Cabrera hit a 2-run shot. That was his first home run as a lefty this season, which is interesting because last year he had 6 home runs and they were all lefty. This year he had 2 and they were both righty. Third home run on the season for him. 2 batters later, Anthony Rizzo. Second deck shot, another mile-high home run. He's just getting under it so much. And at Yankee Stadium, that's what you do. You teach lefties to just get under it, hit fly balls. I wish we had more lefties with power. I will note that I think Bowers looks pretty good, and he was leading off today. Again, he hit a base knock opposite way. He's hitting .292 so far with an .899 OPS. There are worse things in the world than that. Demetrius says, how does that make sense? So I'm getting to that point right now. In the 5th inning, the wheels came off. Harrison Bader made a great catch in left center field. Probably saved a couple of runs. But Clark Schmidt loaded the bases. And Boone's first move was to the guy who's allowed pretty much, I think Marley Rivera maybe posted this, 69% of inherited runners to score over the last couple of years, when the major league average is 33%. And of course, Abreu served up a grand slam. Now, look, the bullpen was pretty worn out. So you're probably not going to go to Hamilton right there. Maybe you go to King, but I have a feeling they were going to use King to close out the game. And I'd imagine Boone will say that in the postgame, that they were saving him for the back end of the game. But you got to get there. And today, because of that grand slam, you didn't. To me, that was the highest leverage point of the game. So you should go with your best reliever. At least that's the Yankees' philosophy. And if that is their philosophy, they should be consistent about it. But probably one of the worst managers at managing the bullpen in terms of, who to go to in big spots is Aaron Boone. So not surprised. Demetrius says, what lane calls for Abreu there? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, maybe the lane that says everybody else was tired or hurt. I mean, the Yankees were kind of worn down today, but I agree with you 100%. That's not the spot for him. So the Yankees did, again, get off the mat. Bottom 7, Gleyber Torres pinch hit for Bowers and picked up a base hit to put 2 men on for Judge. Judge picked up an RBI single to cut the lead to 8-5, and you're thinking, we've got a chance. Rizzo was up as the tying run, but unfortunately he struck out. I did like he was just trying to make contact there. He choked up on the bat, just trying to bring one in and chip away. Good strategy, but chased a bad pitch up and away. And speaking of chasing pitches up and away, that was the pitch that Dwight Gooden used in 96 on this day, all day to lefties to get him. Like Griffey, high fastballs up and away, had no chance, ended up throwing a no-hitter. You can get lefties out. You go up and away with a fastball. Bottom 8, Yankees inched closer. Anthony Volpe caught a hanging slider and smoked it into the left field seats. 2-run shot that made it 8-7. 6th home run for him this season. Seems like the power is becoming more frequent. And he's a guy with a very high launch angle. He's got a big uppercut. I think he's going to benefit a lot from the weather heating up. He did last year and the year before. His numbers took off as the weather got warmer. Because he hits the ball in the air so much, I think a lot of those balls that we saw early on in the season that were hitting the wall or getting caught at the warning track are going to end up over the wall, essentially. So don't be shocked if he ends up with 20-plus home runs this year. I mean, we're only in mid-May, and he's already got 6. So you figure that's, I can't do the math. But, he's probably on pace for 25 right now, would be my guess. Yankees went quickly in the 9th, but Aaron Judge took one to the warning track, came up just short.
Oh, there goes gravity.
And the Yankees lose this game and split the series.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Tough one. Tough one. Senior Nerd says, at this rate, I prefer Madison Bumgarner to Clark Schmidt. I've been calling that for weeks. Is he still available? I don't know. I haven't seen him get picked up by anybody. Maybe he's retiring, Some guys, if they get released, don't want to sign anywhere else. They just want to hang it up. And I wouldn't blame him. Robert Herrick says, how do you put Abreu in such a high leverage position? Especially when he's been bad over the past couple of weeks. I think they said his ERA over the last 10 games was 9. That is not what you want there. That is not what you want. Let's see here. Robert says, Boone does not pay attention to analytics when it comes to choosing relief pitchers. I think that's the opposite. I think that sometimes he relies on those lanes and analytics too much. Today's one of those days where you probably got to just know that, hey, look, this is a big spot. If this guy hits a grand slam off a pitcher who's been struggling, I'm screwed. Honestly, if it was a video game, I probably would have gone with Marinaccio or Mike King just to get one out. But Marinaccio's also been struggling. So, if you go to Marinaccio there and he gets beat, then he's taking heat for going to a guy who's been struggling. So, I mean, it's just one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't situations. Wayne says, looks like Toronto just walked it off against Atlanta. That's all we need. Them having some momentum as we go into Toronto. Bernie says that home plate ump missed the third strike to load the bases, and then the strike call on Rizzo changed the whole at bat. Look, I'm not going to bitch about the umpires. I don't like to bitch about the umpires after a game because typically, from day to day, umpires blow it for both teams. You have to take advantage of opportunities. When you get guys on base, you can't let the umpire decide the game, right? You can't be in a situation where the umpire dictates what happens. You have to take the reins and take destiny into your own hands. Let's take a look at this box score. Pretty pitiful today, if you ask me. Yankees did get 12 hits, but the pitching, 7 earned runs from Clark Schmidt. Now with a 6.30 ERA. How much more of this shit do we have to watch?
Oh, shit.
It doesn't work that way.
Again.
Unbelievable. Yankees did get a lot of knocks, though. Multi-hit game for LeMahieu, multi-hit game for Volpe. He's up to 218. He was at 230 about a week ago. He slumped, and now he's heating back up. Cabrera, 3 for 4. Good to see him coming out of it. He's off the interstate now, hitting 220. I doubt he'll be back on the interstate again. See how it works out against the Blue Jays. They're no slouch when it comes to pitching either. Rizzo with the long ball hitting 312 now. 9 home runs. That's tops on the team for the moment. I think Judge is probably going to pass him pretty soon. Judge 1 for 5. As we said, just missed in the 9th inning to tie up the game. Just a tick late, I think. Tick under it maybe too. Anyway. Tough game. I think that there's got to be options better than Clark Schmidt out there. Somebody mentioned Madison Bumgarner, but, I think about, Severino's coming back here pretty soon. Hopefully they can get him into the rotation. Rodon was throwing today. He's going to throw again tomorrow. I don't know if Clark Schmidt's going to be in this rotation too much longer. Maybe you let somebody take a spot start next time just to give yourself a better chance. You're going to kick yourself if you get down to the end of the season and you miss making the playoffs or winning the division by 1 or 2 games because you stuck with Clark Schmidt for a month longer than you should have. Unbelievable. Veritas Invicta says Cashman is more to blame than Boone. Well, Cashman doesn't play the games. Cashman doesn't make the in-game decisions. The Yankees had a solid day offensively. You can say what you want about his offseason. He obviously didn't help the bullpen too much. I always thought that Andrew Chafin would be a good fit. What's he doing this season? I haven't looked at it. Maybe I'll eat my words on this. He's pitching for the D-backs. He's 2-1 with a 4.20 ERA, 24 strikeouts in 15 innings. He would have been a nice guy to go to in this stretch. AJ says, who leaves the rotation when Severino comes back? Honestly, as much as we hate to say it, probably Brito, because he's younger and probably needs more minor league seasoning. I just think Clark Schmidt's not a major league starting pitcher. He's a relief pitcher at best. Honestly, the Yankees should have, gotten some pitching depth this winter. Well, that you can blame on Cashman. Clark running over the third base coach and saying nothing was awesome. Yeah, so there was a play where he had to back up third, and the coach just kind of got in his way, and he just plowed right over him and said nothing, didn't apologize, no excuse me. Hey, that's sports, baby. That's sports. Colin says, this series has been a heavyweight slugfest. We are not intimidated by the Rays. I will give you credit for that. The Yankees definitely battled, and they looked pretty even. And we didn't have Giancarlo. Then again, they're missing some guys too. Every team has injuries, right? But think about it this way. Rasmussen was a guy who dominated us. He might be out for the season. We may not see him again this season. And they're just starting to get hit by the injury bug. Also, what's the deal with Wander Franco? Yesterday he was on first base and he was, doing this thing with his neck. And then, that was 2 days ago. And then yesterday, I figured he'd be out of the lineup, and he was back in there and wasn't running balls out. Today, a double play, he just jogs down the first baseline. How does Kevin Cash tolerate this? The way I see it, there's two possibilities. Either he's hurt and he can't run because he's hurt, in which case, why is he playing? He's 20-something years old. Let him rest for a couple of days and come back. He'll heal quick. The other thing is, if he's not hurt, he's not hustling. I don't know. Dr. Hitskin says Bowers has been impressive.
Bing.
He's looked good. Bombers Brigade says, this game sucked. Did you see the game? Didn't it suck? It sucked. Aaron Boone needs to be fired immediately. Bases loaded, 2 outs, tie game. You have Hamilton and King who can both throw multiple innings, and you go to Abreu. Dummy, pure dummy, stupid. You know, like I said, I think they were saving one of those guys for the back end of the game, probably King. I think it was one of those situations where he's hoping to get through the inning and get lucky. You know, they do that thing where to avoid the 3-batter rule or whatever, they'll bring somebody in with 2 outs to pitch one batter. But the problem is, hope is not a strategy. And as Lori C likes to say, our mod with the mostest. Anyway, Val says, going into another tough series with the Jays, not good for the stomach or the nerves. I agree with you, man. It feels like the Yankees have, well, we did have the A's mixed in there, but it feels like we've had a very tough schedule so far this season. But, on the road, it's going to be a tough series. We can't let Vladimir Guerrero beat us with 5 home runs in this series. You got to pitch better to Vladdy than you typically do. Anybody else? I mean, Bo Bichette beats you too. In big situations, you got to pitch him carefully too. Everybody else, I think you can probably pitch to. A split between the Rays is unacceptable, given that we helped the Rays up their lead in the division, says Vincent. Well, I mean, you can say it's unacceptable, but it's inevitable. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. AJC says, I would rather see Davy Garcia over Abreu. Davy looked good a few days ago. He threw 3 innings and then they optioned him down. Wouldn't be surprised if he comes back up if somebody has a phantom injury headed into this Jays series. That's what I would say is, like, Yankees place Weber on the IL with tight groin or just some bullshit made up injury so that they can get a fresh arm in and not have to expose somebody to waivers. That's kind of what I would imagine would happen. But anyway, tough day.
Game over, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
We're gonna get out of here.
James says, can we just not pitch to Vlad? I'm in full agreement with that. And the Jays just swept the Braves, so they're coming in red hot. Baba Ganoush calls it the gauntlet.
You gotta go, you gotta go.
And Lori C says, I said I would settle for a split, and that's what I'm doing. I'm settling. Yeah, I mean, I wanted 5-2 on this homestand, and I can't complain because I got 5-2. Now you got to hope that this momentum with the offense carries over into Toronto. You're not playing with the short porch anymore, so you're going to have to figure out a way to score some runs that aren't bouncers off the top of the wall in right field. Until then, enjoy your Mother's Day, and I will be live with Pete on the Designated Spitters podcast in about 2 hours. Going to keep it short today and rest my voice. I will see you next time. Hey everybody, that's a wrap for today's episode. Thanks so much for watching and listening to the podcast. We appreciate your support, and we've got a few ways that you can help us continue to grow. First off, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps other passionate fans like you discover us and join the conversation. If you're active on social media, give us a follow on Twitter at NYY Recaps Derek and Instagram at NYY Recaps for in-game and post-game content. And if you want to take your support a step further, consider becoming a member to get your name featured in lights on each post-game show. And I try and put out occasional members-only videos. We're going to be doing more of that soon because we've got a significant amount of members now. And for all you Yankees fans out there, visit NYYRecaps.shop to snag some awesome merch for your favorite players. We've got hats, hoodies, mugs, coasters, artwork, you name it. Thanks again for tuning in. And if you want more content from Derek, that's me, the creator of this channel, check out my other channel, STREAMSKI. It's got content on things like UFOs, paranormal activity, all that kind of fun stuff. So check it out. I'll see you next time. Ball game over.
impressive.